once we're recording, then... And we're recording. That's great. So a very warm welcome to Paramananda's meditation session, Icing the Body Electric. So Paramananda, if you can unmute yourself now. And off we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, welcome to everybody. And it's lovely to be, I'm going to say here, but of course I'm here and you're there, but it's lovely to be together even in this virtual way, and particularly for this Buddha Field event. So Buddha Field is something very close to my heart, and I've gained so much from working with Buddha Field over the last 10, 15 years, how long it is now. Primarily leading meditation retreats for Buddha Field. And the experience of being in nature in that context has had a profound and deep effect on how I practice and how I teach as well. Anyway, I thought I'd start with a little Rumi poem, because I have a very strong association with this poem and Buddha Field for obvious reasons. This is a version of a very well-known Rumi poem. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. When the soul lays down in that grass, the world is too full to speak of. Ideas, language, even the notion, one another, make no sense. And I'm sure a lot of you have been on Buddha Field retreats, festivals or meditation retreats, other retreats, and of course we tend to refer to it as being in the field. And of course we're in a different kind of field now together here, this kind of virtual field, but nevertheless I found over the last few months of doing a lot of work on the line, on the Zoom, it's still possible to get a sense of community, a sense of solidarity with other people that we're practicing with. So perhaps that's the first thing. What we're going to do, I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then we're just going to meditate together, which I lead, and then we'll have a bit of time at the end to see if you've got anything you want to say or any questions. Or what have you. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I suppose called this I Sing the Body Electric, which a lot of you will recognize as a Walt Whitman quote from his Leaves of Grass. Whitman was a remarkable poet in a way, and one of the first modernists, you could say, but he was also remarkable for his celebration of vitality and sexuality and life, or sometimes what's called Zoe, this life energy, the life force, and this sense that we're all interwoven into this web of life. We're all we're all kind of emergent quality of this thing that we call life, or vitality or prana or chi or whatever name you give to it, the divine, whatever name we give to it, all kind of manifestations of the same life force or the same web of life or the same net of life. And I think going on Buddha field retreats and living for a month in a field with other people in a very simple way, this is what it gives us, this opportunity to start relaxing into the world in a completely different way, relaxing into our own bodies and relaxing into the green and the bird song and the wetness of the grass and the rain and the mud, whatever's going on, just relaxing into the world. And as we relax into ourselves and we relax into the world, we start having intimations that this is one in the same thing. There's not a difference between us and the world, that we are just this very small, nevertheless unique part of the world manifesting. I think the older I get, the more amazed I am by the idea that the cosmos, for whatever reason, has decided to manifest as me, and of course it's also decided to manifest as you. Why is this the case? It's just a mystery, isn't it? It's deepening mystery as we relax into it. So I think one of the main things that I'm interested in these days as a meditation teacher is just to try and suggest the possibility of experiencing yourself as wholly belonging to the world. So that's, and we do this primarily in a way through emphasizing the energetic nature of psyche or mind, whatever you want to call it. I tend to call it soul these days. Soul, of course, was in the Greek, the ancient Greek, was just another name for psyche. So we got psychology, could have soulology. It's the same, more or less the same word in the Greek. Soul began to mean something different in the Christian era, but in the Greek sense, soul really means our participation in the cosmos, that fragment of us which is the cosmos. Yeah. And for us to experience this is to experience ourselves as belonging energetically within the web or the weave of the world of life itself. So that's what we'll try and do through meditating. One of the ways, just one of the ways we can get an experience of this is through meditation. Of course, there's many other ways. Sorry about that. I hope you couldn't hear that. I don't know why I've got all my devices on Do Not Disturb, but anyway. I hope you can still hear me. I'm sorry about that disturbance. Anyway, let's get ourselves into our meditation postures. So we want to find a way of sitting which is
Hi, Paramananda, you've gone quiet again. See if we can unmute you or get you back. You don't seem to be set on mute, but your video is turned off. Okay, got your video back. Brilliant. I've got you back as well.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I don't
Yep.
know that. Even though I've got my devices on Do Not Disturb, some reason someone keeps trying to ring me. I don't even know how that works. I can't turn it off anymore. Anyway, but I'm back again, am I?
You're
Good.
back. We've got you. Lovely. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Okay, let's so let's get ourselves comfortable. So take up your meditation posture. I'm going to assume that most of you are regular meditators. If you're not, you just want to find a way of sitting where your back can be reasonably straight. And you feel like you've got some good contact with the ground. You're in a chair through the soles of your feet, if you're sitting on a cushion. Through the contact with the ground, through your body. Let's start by taking one or two slightly deeper breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You might want to make a bit of a sound on the out breath. Just take a few breaths like that, and as you do, just let the shoulders ease a little bit. So we're just beginning to let go a little bit in the body. I'm going to ask you just to imagine the distance between the top of your head and if you're sitting indoors, probably most of you are indoors, the ceiling of the room. So we're just having a sense of the distance between the top of our head, the crown of our head, and the ceiling of the room, and then by extension, just have a sense of the sky above your head, through the house, through the building you're sitting in, and just having a sense of the sky above your head. And we're going to imagine that the curvature of our skull finds its ground in the curvature of the sky above us. So there's a cooling of the blue crown of the head is kind of cooled upwards towards the sky above us. So I'm not asking you to think about the sky more, I'm asking you to try and imagine the sky through the physical body, through your body. What would it be to allow your skull to imagine the sky above you? Is there any response to the sky at the crown of the head? Let the face, and let's start to just, as we breathe in and out, start to imagine softening the face. So we're just breathing in and out, aware of the sky above us, and beginning to imagine and encourage our face to soften a little. We're going to take our attention down into our feet and our legs and our buttocks, into the sensations of contact between you and the floor, the cushion, the chair, the mat. Parts of your body in contact with the body of the earth, as it were, the solidity that supports you as you sit here. And let's imagine the earth as it is, deep and broad below us. We're breathing in, breathing out, just feeling into the sensations of contact between the earth of our own body and the earth outside of our own body. As you breathe in and out, let's try and soften. Let's imagine softening the soles of your feet. And we're going to have the idea of just letting go in the legs. So however you sit for meditation, the posture should allow you to completely let go in the legs. So just imagining what would it be like to give the weight of our legs fully to the ground to hold. Weight of the bones and the muscles that make up our legs. So breathing in, being aware of your feet and your legs. Breathing out, being aware of your feet and your legs. Imagining releasing. Imagine that you trust the world to support you. Imagine the earth below you, deep, moist, rich and broad. Releasing in the legs and in the hips. See if you can find a kind of release that happens on the in-breath. A different kind of release that can happen on the out-breath. We're going to imagine just letting go of the bowl of the pelvis, letting it fall downwards towards the center of the earth below us. So as we breathe in and out, we're allowing the pelvis to fall down. At the same time, we're remembering the sky above us And we're releasing the dome of the skull towards the sky. So we're breathing in, releasing the pelvis down towards the earth, and releasing the head, crown of the head up towards the sky. Above us, we have the open, unobstructed freedom of sky. And below us, we have the supportive, moist depth of earth. And we're beginning to breathe the posture into alignment in relationship to the earth and the sky. We're letting go, we're letting the pelvis drop and open a little bit, releasing in the hips, in the weight of those big bones in the thighs, those delicate bones in the feet, even the bones of our lower body to the earth. Softening the face, releasing the head upwards, very gently pushing the back of the head up towards the sky, so the crown of the head is uppermost and opening towards the sky. So energetically, we're beginning to imagine that we're open both to the earth energy under us and the sky energy below us. This is a natural opening that's just actually part of the breathing process. We've got our normal breath. And along with our normal breath, we have a kind of subtle, energetic breath, which is open to sky and earth and world. Let your face relax. You don't have to take any of this very seriously. It's just playful. Drop in the pelvis, releasing the hips and the legs. Imagining the bowl of your pelvis filling up with the energy of the earth that supports your life. Since you were born, the earth has supported you. The earth became your mother when you left your world of your physical mother into the mother of the earth. Nice soft face. Just breathing in, breathing out. So between your skull and your pelvis is your spine, the spine going right up into the middle of the head, right down to it fuses onto the light bones of the pelvis. So as you breathe in and out, begin to imagine into your spine, the serpentine spine of your flexible and fluid within your body. As you breathe in and out, just experiencing your spine linking your pelvis with your skull, rising up from the pelvis, gently curving up through the body, through all the major energy or psychic centers in the body, sexual center, through the digestive, towards the navel center, going up through the sort of core, the central kind of core of you, through the solar plexus, heart center, throat center, brow, and the crown. So we're breathing in, breathing out. We're still releasing the legs and the pelvis downward. We're still releasing the skull upward. And we're beginning to enjoy, feel into the spine, taking in the full length of ourselves, from root to crown. Right in the middle, between crown and root, is the heart center. So it's the heart center more than any other center that's sensitive to life, the energetic nature of life. Because in our present culture we're so dominated by the intellect, many of us struggle to have this direct experience of aliveness, of belonging to life. And this is because the heart is largely neglected as a kind of perceptual organ. So as we breathe in and out, let's start imagining the heart as the center of our body as mandala. So if your body is a mandala, the central organizing principle of that body is your heart. So let's breathe in as if we're sort of collecting ourselves into the rose of the heart. And then breathe out, releasing from the heart through the whole body and out into the world. We're going to start this process. We sometimes call this whole body breathing. So we're going to imagine that we're breathing in through the whole body. We're breathing in the world through the whole body. The sky and the earth, the trees, all the other living things, the animals, the insects, the plants, even the buildings, the cities, the towns, all the other people. We're breathing in the whole world to the heart. And then we're releasing through the whole of the body back out into the world. Nice soft face. Let go a little bit more in the legs. There's always holding on going on in the legs. You can always let go in the legs. Making a stronger connection to earth. Just by releasing in those hips and thighs, knees and ankles. So breathing in from the world to the heart, to the whole of the back of the body, the front of the body, whole surface of the body, into the heart of ourselves. So this is the physical heart, but it's also the psychic heart, if you like. It's the deepest part of you. And we're breathing out from the heart back into the world. So we're releasing the gathering of the world into your heart. And as a releasing from your heart back into the world. Nice soft face as you do that. It's just playful. Don't try and force anything to happen. All that green, all that life out there, all that blue above you, all that earth below you, all that world around you. And we breathe in. And we let go back out into the world. This basic exchange of energy flowing through the world, flowing through us. Soft, softening, we're still softening the face, letting go in the legs. So just noticing what's happening, and then when you go into thinking about things, just try and come back to a kind of physical experience. There's always plenty you can do, just releasing in the legs, dropping the pelvis, releasing the head, enjoying the breathing body, having a sense of your spine undulating in the current of your breath as you breathe in and out. Having a sense of the world all around you. There's trees and plants and birds and insects, the earth and the sky. And just breathing in and out. And gathering into the heart, gathering the world into your heart, and releasing from the heart through the body back into the world. What would it be like just to rest fully in the world? Trust the earth to support you. And let the face soften a little bit more. Softening the face down through the throat to the heart center. Imagine the heart right at the center of us. Heart rooted down into the earth. What would it be like to let your heart fully blossom in this world? Extraordinary life of yours. Cosmos expressing itself as you on the in-breath and on the out-breath. Reality manifesting as you in the moment of breathing in and in the moment of breathing out. Release the face a bit more. The legs. Allow yourself to be supported by the world. The other people you're sitting with. The sky and the earth. out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field. I will meet you there. When the soul lays down in that grass, the world is too full to speak of. Ideas, language, even the notion, one another, make no sense. So whatever's going on, let's just, for the last couple of minutes, just keep the posture. Just imagine, just relaxing a little bit more, so you're just stopping trying to do anything at all. So what happens when you just sit? You're just relying on the posture, and the earth and the sky and the world to support you. Kind of letting the will completely soften. There's no attempt to manipulate or control your experience. So just sit together in the world just for a minute or two. Not doing anything at all. Just laying down in that grass. So you just bring the meditation to an end, and just take a couple of minutes, just have a stretch, get yourself a glass of water, whatever you need to do. Just a couple of minutes if you need to get up and have a bit of a stretch. And then we'll see if there's anything that we want to talk about, anything you want to ask or say. So,
Great stuff. Thank you, Paramananda. So, yep, a couple of minutes, and then we'll reconvene again for questions. Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So it'd be really great if you can write your questions in the chat there, and then I can moderate them through for Paramananda.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. Do people? I wonder if people want to unmute themselves for a moment and just sort of say hello or something. I don't know.
Sure.
Shall we do that?
I'm gonna pop us onto gallery view so that everybody who's watching us on Facebook can see all of us here.
Just everybody can just say hello in a random manner to each other if they want. Just so we get a bit of a sense of one another.
Great stuff. So I'll kick us off. I'm Kamal and Andy. I'm based in Sheffield, and very fortunate to be doing some of the hosting for Buddhafield. Got my Buddhafield t-shirt on. So, feel free to pop up and pop in, and if this isn't your thing and you want to stay muted and with your videos off, then you can feel free to do that as well. But
sure, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, it's Helen from Somerset. I'm about 7 miles away from the Buddhafield site, but it seems a long way at the moment in some ways, but still close. And that was wonderful. Thank you very much, Helen.
Thanks, Helen.
Hello, this is Lisa from Banakosha. Very glad to be here. Thanks.
Hi, Liz. No, maybe.
Oh, hello.
Hi, my buddy.
No, I don't know about it.
I'm Joanna in Edinburgh. Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Oh, Joanna, that's nice. Edinburgh, nice place there. Oh,
Hello, I'm Helen from Brighton, and I've heard Rumi's poem many times, but it was just lovely with the meditation today. Rumi's poem, it was gorgeous.
oh, good, yeah, it's a good time, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. It seems always strikes me as particularly apt for Buddha-field events somehow.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It describes Buddha-field wonderfully. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Where we meet.
Yep.
Hi, this is Lucinda from Ithaca, New York. Thank you, Paramananda. It was fantastic. Great.
All right, all the way from New York. Ah, welcome, New York. Yeah. I hope I get there again one day.
Hi, I'm Kamalini. I'm from Dorset. Just wanted to say how much I enjoyed thinking about how the crown of my head feels about the blue sky. I'm really going to take that away.
Yeah.
Just
nice.
thinking about, that was useful. Thank you.
Nice white bone, if you think of it, nice. Way I think of it as in that crown of your head, the place where it was still open, wasn't it, when you were born?
Yeah.
So it's more or less like you can imagine the bone there slightly translucent, you know, like it could let a bit of light into and soothe our rather overworked brains. Nice bit of golden soothing light through the crown. I was really, so I'm rambling on now. There's other people want to say hello, but anyway, just what I think of it. Actually, I think I was with Mahabodhi here when we went, I think. It was with you, wasn't it? When we went to Liverpool Cathedral.
Oh, yeah.
And that, just going in that modern cathedral, which looked a bit ugly from the outside, I thought it was like a spaceship or something. You know, but when you go in there, I think I'm right in saying it's got the biggest stained glass in Europe. Anyway, it's like a crown on the top of the cathedral. It's just completely fantastic. We were there on this really bright day, and the light just flooding that. But somehow it's always stuck with me, and changed the way I kind of feel about the crown of my head. You know. It's an interesting thing, a crown, isn't it? Because it's open, isn't it? You know, it hasn't got a roof on it, as it were. It's open to the sky. Okay. Well, let's see if there's any questions, and anybody else can kind of introduce themselves if they want as we go along. Yeah, have you got anything in your text boxes?
I've not had any questions come in yet, so
no questions.
But I can see lots of people in front of me, and I can see a hand up. Here we go. Rowan, do you want to just come in and unmute yourself?
Yeah, just unmute.
Yeah, I put. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I put my question in the chat as well. I enjoy feeling a sense of my body going out beyond my skin boundary, a bit like a sort of field of energy, sometimes stronger than others. You know, sometimes it's not very strong, sometimes it's very strong. And it's especially strong around my upper body, heart area, and around my head as well. And I just wondered, do you think this is a skillful way to practice, or could you say anything about this?
Oh, that's an interesting. When you say a skillful way, what was it?
Useful, progressive. Will it help me that will it help others to practice it with that kind of sense of the energy field around?
Yeah, I think so. I do think so, yeah. Yeah, I think the best approach to meditate, I think we've got a quite a distorted idea about meditation, really, because I don't think we realize since Freud, not that I'm against this in any way, but our understanding of the world and ourselves have become intensely psychological. And so we tend to meditate psychologically, which means in the modern sense to be concerned with our ego consciousness. Well, actually, I don't think that's really what we're trying to do when we meditate. I think we're trying to experience ourselves as less bounded. And so in a sense, if you can experience yourself more in terms of energetically rather than psychologically, I think that's very useful, yeah. I mean, there's not an absolute division between the two, but I think the more body-based, so when I say body, I mean both the physical body of flesh and blood, but also the energetic body that you were talking about, the kind of field body, the field of energy that also makes up our body, the subtle body. The more body-based your meditation is, the better. Simply because it's just addressing a kind of imbalance that most of us suffer from these days, which is a terrible overemphasis on the rational thinking aspect of us. I think we totally over-identify with that. So this is, another way of talking about this is a shift to the heart center from the brow or the head, trying to allow the heart to become the organizing principle of the psyche, the center of the psyche, the center of the, I think I described it as the mandala of the body, but it's also the psychic mandala, the mandala of our sense of self. The heart, we're going to just imagining the heart as the center of that. And, actually, from an energetic point of view, it's the heart that's the main organ of perception. It's the main organ in the body that is actually sensitive and responsive to the energy fields of other people and other living things. But anyway, yeah, I think it's good, yeah. I think it's a skillful way to meditate, yeah. As long as there's some basic, anything I say about meditation really has to be qualified by saying that there needs to be some basic mindfulness there to begin with. So we have to have established some kind of basic mindfulness. But from what you were describing, it sounds like that is there for you.
Yeah, that would be true for me, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I think the other thing this is not only to you, but to everybody listening, really. I mean, in the end, your meditation is a very subjective experience. There's not really such a thing as meditation. It's just meditators, And in the end, you're going to have to learn to trust your own experience. So that a question like, well, is it skillful? I mean, you have to, in the end, cultivate your ability to feel into whether something is skillful or not. I mean, it will reveal itself to you directly. It's not an abstract question. We kind of has a feeling quality to it, doesn't it? So if our meditation has a feeling quality of love and openness, we can be pretty sure it's skillful. If it has a feeling quality of contraction and ill will, for example, we can be pretty sure that it's not skillful. You know? So it's not whether something's skillful or not. It's not an objective question, really. It's you're going to have to, in the end, we all have to, in the end, rely on our own experience, you know, because we're the only person really that has that. You know, nobody else knows what's going on.
Great stuff. I've got a question here from Yasheng. Do you want to ask your question, Yasheng? Go for it.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the meditation, Paramananda. I'm from North London.
Hello.
Hello. And recently, because I have some pain in my body and I had to lie down, because when I sit up, I start to have that anxiety thinking about the pain. So I had to lie down. But I find it, I can get really open up and comfortable, especially when I get in touch with the back of my heart. I can feel it even more expanded than when I was sitting up. I can feel it all my upper body to my arms, but I couldn't quite open up to my head or being alerted. So I was wondering if is there any, how can I be more open up when I was using the lying down posture?
So you were laying down, yeah? And that worked all right as far as your heart was concerned, did it? The heart?
Yeah.
Well, what can you say a bit more about your head? What was it about the head that wasn't?
So I just couldn't quite get. So, for example, it's easier for me to sit up and then get some insight. But when I was lying down, I can only get comfortable or open the heart. But it's quite hard for me to get into some insight.
What do you mean by insight? What is that for you? What does that mean for you?
So
is that something to do with clarity of thought then, or?
Yeah, so for example, when I was doing the Satipatthana, and when it comes to the thought and thinking and the final stage, the conditioning, all of those, I have to do that sitting up, because otherwise it wouldn't work. But right until before that point, connection with the body, and that was all very well with the breathing. Yeah.
So what are you asking me exactly? Sorry to be
is there some, for example, I don't even know if it's possible, but is there somewhere I can be more focused on when I was lying down, so I can get alert? Because sometimes I just drift away.
Well, I mean, it is a bit. I mean, that's exactly why we have this meditation posture, isn't it? Because there's a certain alignment there that does allow a certain alertness, which is harder to get when you're laying down. But I mean, I wouldn't worry too much, really. I mean, I think you just got. We've all got. It is possible to be mindful when you're lying down. It is possible to have a clarity. It might be slightly more difficult, but in a way, if you're not comfortable, if there's a lot of discomfort while you're sitting up, I don't know. I don't feel I can give you any sort of definitive advice, really. No, I wouldn't. But sometimes, I mean, it sounds like you're able to sit up sometimes, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're just going to have to work, with what you've got, really. Sometimes, maybe laying down. I mean, I'm very keen on people relaxing in meditation myself. I think sometimes there's a little bit of a confusion between. I wouldn't worry about the insight business. Actually, I wouldn't worry about it. Insight doesn't have to happen while you're in meditation. That clarity of thought, which is very useful in a kind of rational understanding of conditionality or whatever it is we're referring to when we're talking about insight, is very useful. But it's a contemplative thing, really, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen when you're in meditation. I personally would say meditation is more of an opportunity to relax into something that's kind of a bit below your normal consciousness, So I wouldn't worry too much. I would think, well, you can have the insight while you're walking around, You can have the insight when you're, in your everyday life. I wouldn't worry too much about insight. Personally, I wouldn't worry too much about insight,
Thank you. Thank you
It
so
will
much.
come. It comes when how much insight do you need? Most of us have got enough insight. What needs to happen somehow is that needs to saturate the body in a different way. It needs to move from a kind of mental to a kind of embodied experience, which I suspect the most important thing is really to fully relax. And ideally, if you can do that within an aligned, upright position, that is ideally the best. But if you can't do that in that position, you just do it laying down, and that's also fine. It's also fine. It might mean you not quite as clear. You haven't quite got the clarity, but I suspect you're quite a clear person. I suspect there's enough insight there. You just need to relax and let it have its way with you, as it were.
Thank you.
I don't know how useful that is, but
It's very useful.
Yeah.
Great advice. I've got a question here from Joe. Would you like to ask your question, Joe?
Yeah, hi. So I've heard you talk a little bit about this before, but I wanted to ask about images that come up during meditation.
Oh, yeah.
I've not had this for a while, but just now I had some really interesting images that came up towards the end of meditation. And I wanted to ask you, do you think it's useful to bring attention to those images and to try and interrogate what they're all about, or is it best just to let them be?
Whoa. Well, yes and no. Yes to the first bit and no to the second bit. I think it's useful to pay attention to them. Yeah. I wouldn't interrogate them though. That sounds a bit like 24 hours or something. They're under suspicion. What's interrogating what? No, I'd listen to them. I'd try and let them inform you. But once you get into an interrogatory mode, what's going on there, or what might be going on there, is that your ego consciousness, which feels somewhat unsettled by the images, is trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Begins with a P. Or anyway, it's trying to control the experience, you know. So no, I wouldn't interrogate them. But I think the nearest analogy we can have towards images are kind of deep listening. You know, that we're trying to listen to them. That they've got, they don't need to be interpreted. They need to be listened to. I don't know, in that they will reveal what they. But I do think, yeah, don't ignore when images arise spontaneously in meditation. And this is a distinction which we need to be able to make, although it's not an absolute distinction. We're not talking about fantasizing here, we're talking about images arising, much like they arise in a dream or something. So it's not something that we're doing with the ego. Yeah, when they arise, we should definitely take notice of them and even dwell with them, abide with them. Yeah, let's use this word, abiding. I think we should abide with these images and see what they do. But we don't need to, but I think interrogate or even interpret is going too far. We're trying to appropriate, the ego is trying to appropriate the image for its own use there. Yeah, so we want to imagine that this psyche of ours, we've got this little surface bit which we call ego consciousness, or the small self. Got this little surface there. Then under this surface is this ocean of psyche. Well, the Greeks called it fathomless, you know. So you've got all these images, some of which are kind of psychological and personal, some of which are supra-personal, archetypal, you know. And we just need to the extent we can, we just abide with them and see if what they reveal, if they want to reveal anything to us. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it really does. Thank you.
So we'll, yeah, I think that the analogy I would use is a listening, really, a listening. Yeah. Just like when you're with a friend, you know, and just, you know, that skill of just being able to listen to someone without your own prejudices. I know it's a bit weird, but without your ego kicking in. Once the ego kicks in and starts thinking, well, this means this, or this means that, or this is good, or this is bad, or this is because, oh, that's come up because, you know, I ate too much cheese, or whatever it was, you know. Once that kicks in, we kind of lost it, you know. So it's this, and this is very, very hard to do. So it's always going to kick in, and the ego will always kick in and appropriate the image. But as far as possible, we just abide with kind of, I want to say a tenderness, really, you know, a sort of a sense of being very open to the image and see what does it, you know, what does it bring with it? Because it's an image, but it's also probably also a sensation. It's probably also, yeah, a feeling in the body. You know? Images, in this sense, images occupy this very interesting realm between the sort of, what images in the sense I'm talking about images here, they're in the Sambodhakaya, aren't they? They're in this middle realm between the material realm and the Dharmakaya, or the realm of pure spirit or light. We have this Sambodhakaya, this bliss body, and the images belong to that realm. I don't know if that makes sense to people, but these sort of dream images, they're very related to what we were talking about before, the energetic body. The energetic body also inhabits this same middle realm between the material realm and the realm of emptiness, if you like, or just the realm of potentiality. What do they call it these days? The physicists are on. There's a quantum negativity, I think they call it now. So now they've realised that 95% of the material world is hidden. This dark matter. They're starting to realise this is sort of potentiality. They call it a quantum negativity, which is the ground of being that everything material life kind of manifests out of. So we're talking about this sort of realm when we're talking about images. It's sort of somewhere between the two, the material and the completely non-material. You get image and energetic. I don't know if that makes sense. That's not what I am.
Thank you very much. Well, what I love about you, Paramananda, is you always give such beautiful, full answers. It's like your answers are like mini talks in themselves. There's so much in there. Really lovely. We're just about to hit the 12:30 mark.
Oh, okay. I'm going to start. Someone just rang my doorbell, but I'll be back to say goodbye. I think it's probably
Yeah. You go and check that. I'm going to put us on the whole view so we can all see each other.
Okay.
So we have got, and I'm just going to, let me go and mute Paramananda for a minute.
Hello.
There we go. So we don't need to hear who's come to visit him. So we're going to be back at the same time tomorrow. Paramananda's got a session that is called The Alchemical Heart, and it's in the same slot, same time, 11 till 12:30 tomorrow. We will be back again with Paramananda. So it'd be lovely to see you back here again, and for more of the same. A very similar format, I imagine, with more meditation and leading from Paramananda. So yes, same format. Amber just put a question. There was something about the liminal realm. Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, I think was the word Paramananda was using there. Paramananda, can you just unmute yourself? We just want to double check that. I think the word you used was Sambhogakaya.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we've got you now.
Or is that Sambhogakaya? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the wrong word?
No, it's just somebody was asking you which one it was, so I'm just gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna see if I can remember how to spell it. Sambhogakaya.
We got Rupakaya, haven't we? Down there.
Yeah.
But it's sort of mid realm, yeah.
I've not spelt it right. If anyone knows how to spell it better than me, put that in the chat, because I've missed another. I'm sure there's an H in there somewhere.
It does have an H, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mahabodhi knows that.
Just type it into the chat, and then Rowan can search it up in
Mahabodhi is a manifestation of the Sambhogakaya. Even I've missed.
Beautiful.
He knows how to spell.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to wrap us up. So let's feel free to just unmute yourself and shout out a thank you to Paramananda, and we'll see you all again tomorrow, or a different version of people in this space for another session with Paramananda tomorrow. Thank you so much, Paramananda.
Thank you so much. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Take care.
Beautiful.
Bye bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Okay, love that. Yeah.